once again, welcome to Alena TV, and my name is Janet Agbalanyo. This is African history, and today we are going to delve into Kenya. We're going to look at the history of Kenya. So let's go for a break. When I come back, I'm going to go deep down into what Kenya really stands for. See you. Welcome back from that break. So in Kenya, around 2000 BC, the Kuzitic-speaking people from the northern Africa settled in the part of East Africa that is now Kenya. So by the 1st century AD, the Kenyan coast was frequently by Arab traders who, due to Kenya's proximity of the Arabian Peninsula, established Arab and the Persia colonized there, and the Nilotic Bantu people also moved into the region during the first millennium AD and settled in the land. Evaluating from a maximum of the Bantu and the Arabic and the Swahili language, then developed a lingua franca for trade between the different people. When the Portuguese arrived in 1498, the Arab dominance on the coast was clipped, as ports of the Mombasa became an important supply top of ships bound for the first east. The Portuguese gave away in turn of Arabic control over the Imam of the Oman in 16th until another European influence came along, this time for the United Kingdom during the 19th centuries. The roots of the colonial history of Kenya go back to the Berlin Conference in 1885, when East Africa was first divided into territories of influence by the European powers. The British government founded the East African Protestants in 1895 and soon after opened the fertile highland for white settlers. Even before it was officially declared a British colony in 1920s, these settlers were allowed a voice in government, while the Africans and the Asians were banned from direct political participation until 1944. During this period, thousands of Indians were brought into Kenya to work on building the Kenya-Uganda railway line and subsequently settled there, while inviting many of their kith and kin who were mainly traders from India to join them. In 1942, members of the Kikuya, Ambu, Meru, and Baba tribe took an oath of unity and secrecy to fight for freedom from the British rule. The Mwamu movement began with that oath, and Kenya embarked on its hard road to national sovereignty in 1953. Jomo Kenyatta was charged with directing the Mamu and sentenced to 7 years imprisonment. Another freedom fighter, the Dan Kemata, was arrested in 1956 for his role in the Mamumu uprising as one of the leaders of the struggle for independence, and was subsequently hanged by the colonists. Kenya was put under a state of emergency from October 1952 to December 1959 due to the Mamumu rebellion against British colonial rule, and thousands of Kenyans were incapacitated in detention camps. During this period, African participation in the political process increased rapidly, and in 1954, all three races, the European, the Asian, and the African, were admitted into the Kenya Legislative Council on the representative basis in June 1982. Kenya was officially declared a one-party state by the National Assembly, and the constitution was amended accordingly. Parliamentary elections were held in September 1983 under the single party for the first time, and the 1998 elections reinforced the one-party system. However, in December 1991, Parliament announced the one-party section of the Constitution. A division of new party were formed in early 1992. In December of that year, multi-party democracy was restored and elections were held with several parties participating. Because of division in the opposition, Moi was reluctant for another 5 years in turn, and his KANU party retained a majority of the legislature. Due to the parliamentary reform in December 1997, political rights was expanded, which led to an explosion in the number of political parties. Again, Moi won re-election as president in December 1997 elections. Because of a division opposition, the KANU won 113 out of 220. Again, Moi won re-election as president in December 1997 election. Because of a division opposition, the KANU won 113 out of 22 parliamentary seats. But because of the defection, had to expand on the support of minority parties to forge a working majority. Kenya held its 10th general election on 27 of December 2007. A dispute that followed the announcement of the results by the Electoral Commission of Kenya unfortunately generated into an unprecedented 7-week-long spat of violence in some part of the country, leading to the loss of lives, dislocation of many citizens, destructions of properties, and general disruption of socio-economic lives. The former Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Mr. Kofi Annan, who with the assistance of the eminent persons from across the African continent, including HE President Jakaya Kikwete, Chairman of the African Union and President of the Tanzania, HE Mr. Graça Machel, His Excellency Mr. Benjamin Mkapa, and His Excellency Mr. Joham Chisona helped broker a reconciliation between HE President Maui Kahaku and his main contender, Honorable Raila Odinga, leading to the signing of the National Record and Reconciliation Agreement, thus paving the way for the restoration of peace and security in the country and return to normalcy in the affected regions. The agreements include a fundamental change in the government structure to introduce a post-prime minister with 2 deputy primaries and the former of the grand conciliation between the President Party of the National Unity and Honorable Odinga's Orange Democratic Movement Party. Following the agreement, the President and the Prime Minister designate appointment of the National Accorded Implementation Committee to prepare a program of action for the Grand Conciliation Government. It's also into bracket GCG, synchronizing the manifesto of the coalition parties and identifying short, medium, and long-term policies for implementation by the GCG. The committee established a reconciliation and a building program covering the entire country with activities accorded down to all districts and institutions and involving the private sector, civil society and media, community-based organization, sports personalities, and faith-based organization in the national emergency recovery strategies. In parallel to this, 3 important bodies were established: the Truth, Justice, and Reconciliation Commission, the Commission of Inquiry of Post-Election Violence, and Independent Review Committee on the 2007 election. Though this body, through reconciliation and healing, was brought to Kenya and its people, the parties also agreed on a process and a roadmap for comprehensive constitutional reform, which will strengthen the institution of government and address the long-term difference that contributed to the violence. Though implementation of National Accord and Reconciliation Agreement, the Grand Coalition Government embarked on constructive of the economy and settlement of the affected people. At that time, putting the economy back into its growth path and settlement of people affected by the crisis was top of the agenda of the Grand Coalition Government. President Mwai Kibaki served his second term in the Grand Coalition government with Honorable Raila Odinga as the Prime Minister until March 2013, when Honorable Yuhara Mungi Kenyatta was elected as the fourth president of the Republic of Kenya, with Honorable William Somia Ruto as his deputy. HE President Uhuru Kenyatta and the HE Deputy President William Samuel Ruto were re-elected on 22nd October 2017 for their second term in office. This is African History, coming all the way from Kenya. Thanks for watching. Can you share your comment on our social media handles? Let us know your thoughts on this particular episode. See you next time.